Hello, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. In this video, I'm going to talk about the fear of abandonment and how to use the law of attraction or manifesting to overcome your fear of abandonment, which essentially is the fear or the experience of being left or ignored, ghosted, distanced from in relationships. Essentially, if the person that you love or you're with leaves you, that is what I call the fear of abandonment. It's a fear of that happening, and it's also the experience of that happening. So I'm going to talk about exactly how to overcome this using manifesting. Before I jump into the video, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel. Also like and comment below. I would love to hear from you. And also know that I'm offering a self-love workshop this weekend. It's going to be live on Zoom. It's a 3-hour workshop, 2.5, 3-hour workshop. And I'm going to go deep into all the aspects of how to create really unwavering self-love, which in my opinion is that's the foundation to creating anything and everything you want. And there's a whole section of this course on how to overcome your wounds, your wounded self, your inner child, and that includes fear of abandonment. We need to overcome these wounds so we no longer play them out in relationships. So if you're interested in diving into this work, have a look below. The link is directly down there. It's this Sunday, April 2nd, 12th. Okay, so let's jump in. How do you overcome the fear of abandonment using manifesting? Well, first of all, let's talk about what the fear of abandonment is. And this is something that is very close to my own heart, knowing how to overcome it and also teaching how to overcome the fear of abandonment, because that's something that I have done in my own life. I've learned how to no longer be paranoid that I'm going to be left. I've learned to soothe myself through the experience of, or the fear of, I'm going to be left, which when you learn how to be with yourself through this fear, you no longer create it in your reality. Basically, I really don't have the experience of my partner distancing from me or leaving me, and that's because I've done this work on healing my fear of abandonment. So essentially what the fear of abandonment is, again, it's the experience of being left by your partner, your specific person, someone that you care about, someone who you want to be present with you actually, and you want them to be close to you. Often, part of what's so painful about this experience of abandonment or the fear of abandonment is often at the beginning of relationships, and comment below if you relate to this, often at the beginning of relationships, this person is pursuing you and coming in and giving you a lot of attention and affection. They're coming towards you. They're giving you a lot of attention and affection, and it feels amazing. And then something switches and they start distancing. They start going away, and they may completely go away. So comment below if you've ever had that experience. This is a very, very common one, and this is what I call fear of abandonment. It includes the fear of being abandoned, but it also includes the experience of being abandoned. So let's look at why this is happening, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what to do to change this pattern so you don't have to experience this with people you love anymore, because it's super painful and it's annoying and it's awful. It's just like an awful, frustrating, painful experience. So first, what is going on? Why do you have this pattern in your relationships? Well, if you know my work and you know how I look at the world and look at manifesting, then this is going to make sense to you. Through my perspective, we are creating every single thing in our realities, and this includes how other people show up with us. So if you have some sort of belief, expectation, assumption, or even fear, and it can even be an unconscious fear, so a fear that you're not really that aware of. But if you have any type of fear that you're going to be left in a relationship or by someone you love, what ends up happening is you start manifesting this experience, right? Because we're creating everything in our realities. The outer world is just a reflection of your inner world. So if you have even a tiny expectation that you are going to be left by someone who you love, what happens is you start to manifest that experience of this person leaving you. Often the way this plays out is it can start really small. So again, the relationship starts out, that person is coming in towards you, they're pursuing you, they're into you, they want to be around you. And then something starts to happen where they slowly start to distance and you start to feel them distancing. That activates your fear of abandonment even more. They start distancing more because you're manifesting, again, for them to distance. And then it gets more and more and more. It snowballs until they totally leave the relationship or they're like fully gone. It's very painful. Again, comment below if you know what this is like. So where does this come from? Like, why is this happening? Well, the main place that this comes from, the easiest way to look at this is, and the most common, is that it's likely that you have some sort of wound from your childhood of one of your parents or both of your parents or someone close to you distancing or leaving or not being emotionally available, not being fully present with you. And because you had that experience in your childhood, it created this wound of, essentially the wound is, I'm going to be left. I'm going to be left. I'm going to be distanced from. I'm not going to be important. I'm going to be forgotten. All these types of beliefs, right? And often these beliefs are really underground. Like we're not even aware that we have these types of beliefs, but we do. And they're subconsciously like within us. And so then, of course, what happens is when you create an intimate relationship, a close relationship in your adult life, that fear gets activated, right? So the wounds we had from our childhood with our parents get activated in our intimate relationships. So that same fear gets activated. You may not even be fully aware that it's getting activated, and it may get activated before this person, your partner, starts to distance from you, but it still gets activated. So the fear gets activated and you start manifesting for this person to distance from you, okay? So this is what happens when you chronically feel left, abandoned, forgotten, ghosted, not prioritized, all of these experiences of being abandoned. This is what's happening. Your fear of abandonment is being activated inside of you. Your expectation or fear, a fear is an expectation. Fear of being left is activated and you start manifesting it and the person starts to leave. Okay, so that's what's going on. So what do you do about this? I mean, there's quite a few practices you can do. I teach this in my course, Free Yourself. If you want to dive deep into it, you can look at that course. It's linked below. There's a whole module on fear of abandonment. But essentially, one of the main things you have to do, and I'll probably discuss two things in this video. One of the main things you have to do is you have to, well, the basis of what you have to do is you have to change your expectation. You have to change your expectation of what's going to happen to you in relationships. As long as you continue to expect that you're going to be left or distanced from, it's going to keep happening. So you have to change that expectation. So that's like kind of the overarching thing of what you have to do. How do you do this? The number one thing you have to do is you have to show up for that part of you that feels left or abandoned. You have to show up for this part of you. So often what happens when we feel abandoned in relationships is we want the other person to show up, right? Again, like raise your hand, comment below if you know what that is like. We all know what that's like. And then we start chasing. I'm going to do a video on chasing soon. So that's all of that chasing and wanting the other person to show up to soothe you and make you feel better, it's coming from fear, from still feeling left. And you can't get people to show up for you if you still feel abandoned. So the way for you to not feel abandoned anymore is you need to show up for that part of yourself. This is self-love. This is, in my opinion, this is the deepest aspect of self-love there is. It's showing up for your inner child, your wounded self, the part of you that does not feel loved. So to give you a little taste of the practice that I would do for myself as I was healing this wound in myself, which I have healed it and I continue to heal it, but I don't experience abandonment very much at all anymore because I've done this work. So a little taste of what I would do to show up for that part of me is anytime I feel that fear kick in, like, oh my gosh, they're gone, they're leaving, they're distancing, pause, go within, go deep within as I teach, drop deep into your heart space, touch your heart, and start talking to that little one within, that wounded self or your inner child that feels scared right now, that feels like she's being abandoned. Start talking to her and telling her that you are here for her and you're not going to leave. So this is how I would do it. I'd say something like, I know you're scared, sweetie, and I hear you, and I want you to know I'm right here with you. And I know this feels horrible, but I am right here with you, and I'm not going to leave you. And I'm always going to hold you, and I'm always going to love you. You are so loved. I am right here. I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to leave you ever. I'm never going to leave you. Okay, so as I'm doing that practice, you can't see, but I'm holding myself, I'm touching my heart, and essentially what you will feel if you're doing this correctly, if it's deep enough, you will feel that fear dissipate on the spot. And the reason is because there's a part of you that feels like she's being left, and you're showing up for her and saying, I'm here. And that's the very thing, this is very deep self-love, that's the very thing she needs to feel safe again. So this is the first aspect of how to heal the fear of abandonment. Once you develop a very deep inner experience of being held, you holding yourself, you not leaving yourself, then you can start to create a reality, a new expectation that other people are going to stay too, they're going to show up too. So the key to this is it is very hard to expect that another person is going to show up for you if you're not showing up for yourself in that way. So the second aspect, to create a new belief system that someone is going to be present with you and show up for you and love you and not leave you, you really have to create that knowing within yourself first through self-love. So what I'm saying is, like, you can't abandon yourself and abandon your inner child and expect your partner not to. People are going to show up with you the way you show up with yourself, often. This is a foundational component of manifesting. So you have to create this very deep inner self-love practice first, and then you can start, once you create that, once you really feel within that love's not going to leave me, then it's actually very easy to transfer that belief into your experience with other people. So what I'm saying is, like, if I feel like I'm always present for myself, I'm not going to leave myself, then I'm going to start to actually believe that about other people as well. Where people go wrong here is they want to create it with the other person before they've created it with themselves. You can technically, but it's a lot harder. So again, the practice of healing your fear of abandonment is number one, create a very deep self-love practice. Again, I'm going to go deep into this in my workshop this weekend. a deep self-love practice on how to show up for your wounded self, your inner child. And then once you create that felt experience of, I'm not going to be left, then you can create that with other people. You can start believing, yeah, I'm not going to be left. I'm not leaving myself, and my person's not going to leave me. Okay? So thank you so much for being here with me in this video. I'm so happy you're here. Please, again, comment below. Tell me your experience with abandonment, fear of abandonment, and what you're going to do to start healing it. I would love to hear, and I will see you very soon. Bye.